Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of History Buff 41. Today we are taking a look at a holster for the P38 pistol. A little background for you all. The P38 pistol was designed by Walther and was intended to be a less expensive, more modern replacement for the Pistol 08, more commonly referred to as the Luger. So the P38s were adopted by the German military in 1940. And went in, actually adopted in 1938 and went into full production in 1940. And the Luger production was phased out by 1942. The initial holsters for the P38s were a solid, they call hard shell or clamshell holster. It was very elegant looking, had a lot of very nice features on it. But as the war progressed and material shortages increased in Germany, and as things started to go south for Germany, they started looking at ways to produce materials that were a little simpler, used a little less materials, and required a little bit less time in the manufacturing process. And that is what we see here before us. So we're going to take a look here at some of the markings, and you can see it's leather. This is cowhide. There were other versions of this that were made in pigskin, also split leather. There was an ersatz leather, synthetic leather version, and there was also like a cloth webbing version of it. And we look here, it's basically what they call a three-piece. So we've got our flap here, and your first piece is the cover flap, which opens up, and then you have this side flap, and then you have this other flap here, which holds the pistol in place. We have a little pocket here for a spare magazine. And one thing that you will notice with military handgun holsters that's different from civilian is that a lot of times they have a flap here that covers the entire firearm. And basically what that does, especially if you are someone who is in the infantry, this is going to help to give the pistol better protection from rain, from snow, from moisture, from dust, whatever, and help protect it. Now, in the German military, pistols were more something that was given out to non-commissioned officers or to actual officers, and was a little more of a status symbol as opposed to an actual personal defense weapon. But they were definitely used in combat, especially if you were on a crew-served weapon like perhaps a Panzerschreck team, or maybe you carried a flamethrower or were on a machine gun team. So you wouldn't be carrying a heavier, say, Mauser rifle or MP40 or STG-44 or something of that nature. So these handguns, the original holsters, looked very, very very, very similar to the holsters that were made for the 08 Lugers. And so what they did is on the back of it, and you can still see kind of the remnants of this if we get the light right. You can see right there it has P38 stamped into the leather to designate that this holster is for P38. And we see here the belt loops. We see they're still solidly attached. The stitching, you can see it's more like a buck stitch. For those of you who are familiar with horses and tack, the stitching along here is more of a buck stitching. One thing that the Germans did, the Americans definitely didn't have to worry about this, and the British less and less as the war went on. They did things to disguise the manufacturers and the locations of their war materials. So what we see here is the manufacturer code, which is BLA, and then the year 1944. And if we look ever so faintly there, this is actually the German ordnance stamp, commonly referred to as a WA stamp. And you can't really see it because it's got a lot of wear there. But that is actually WA, and then the number, I believe, is 159. And so BLA, the manufacturer that corresponds to, is the EG Lunar GmbH Bautzen Humboldt 23. EG Lunar GmbH is the name of the company, and I believe the Bautzen Humboldt 23 or whatever it is, some Germanic word I can't pronounce, is the location And just kind of as an FYI, the GmbH is the equivalent of, in German, my understanding anyway, is the equivalent of like corporation in the United States. But again, I mean, you can see 1944, you know, the first from 1939 up until about the middle of 42, things were going pretty good for the Axis forces. And then, I don't know, into 43, first part of 44, the tide really started to turn. And so you can see, you know, Germany and Japan, you know, they're looking at lower quality, but still, I mean, this is a very good, high quality leather. Yeah, you can see some marks on here. I mean, we've got a little cracking as the leather's kind of dried out a little bit and with some age, and you've got some marks along in here. But all in all, the finish still a high quality, high gloss finish. Just a very good, you know, stitching, high quality thread, high quality leather. Just still a very good quality of manufacture product on this. I mean, you know, aside from some honest wear from the past 80 years, it's in really good shape. And another thing they changed between this and the hard shell that I've neglected to mention earlier, is the way that this opens. You know, you have this tab where kind of ideally, you know, you would reach down, you'd pop that off like so a little quicker, open it up, grab the pistol, and pull it out. Whereas with the earlier hard shell clamshell cases, you had a buckle that you had to undo on there. So that made it a little quicker, a little bit quicker to on the draw. But I guess that's it for this episode of History Buff 41. I really want to thank you all for watching, and please be sure, if you like what we're doing here, or what I'm doing here I should say, to like, share, and subscribe this video. Thanks for watching.